it took you how long then to pay off your debt?
About 2 years.
And you remember when you made that final payment when everything balanced to 0?
Oh, yeah. It was so awesome being able to tell him that I made that accomplishment because I remember November 2022, I had my catalytic converter on my car died,
Mhm.
and it was like a $2,000 repair.
Ouch.
And yes, and I was already kind of in that, like, trying to refill my quick and dirty and stressing out about that. My husband asked me, "How did you pay for it?" And I go, "I put it on the credit card." And he goes, "Well, why did you do that?" And I said, "Because I don't have enough in my quick and dirty to cover that." And he said, "When you have emergencies, you come to me, because we still have our finances separate." And realizing, like, okay, I have a partner, like, I don't have to do this on my own. He's giving me permission to support me and help me, and he essentially turned into my quick and dirty.
Do you know what a group of bunnies is called?
I do. Should I pretend I don't? Because you wanna tell me?
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't know. I didn't know, and April sent us a note. She sent us an email and she was like, "Hey, just so you know, a group of bunnies is called a fluffle."
Which I think is great. But
I
when we were talking on the podcast a couple weeks ago about what a group of bunnies was called, we didn't know. I immediately Google, you know me. I'm like, even when I'm
know.
watching a TV show, if I don't know the answer to something, I have to Google it. So I did know, but I will let you have this moment.
All right, because I think a fluffle is so cute. Like,
Isn't that
I
cute?
want all the money fluffles. Today, we get to talk to a phase threer, someone that's gotten the hell out of debt, and we're talking to Cheyenne. What do you know about Cheyenne?
Well, I know she's got a lot of fluffles, and I do remember her right from the very beginning. I remember the first time she introduced herself. She's got a really cool story, and I know she's gonna inspire a lot of people no matter where you are at in your financial journey, whether it's phase 1, 2, or 3.
How do you keep track of all of these people that are in this program? I don't know how you do this because we have so many lovely people that keep joining us, and I feel like you know them all.
I know somebody asked me one time if I have a spreadsheet of everybody, and I don't. But you know when they say, like, when you have babies and you have one baby and then you're gonna give birth to your second baby and they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to love the babies much." And then all the old people say, "Oh, but your heart will grow. You'll have enough love for them all." That's how I feel about people in the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. They're all, in my fluffle. And so I just remember them. I don't know. I just care.
Well, your heart currently is broken into 1 gabillion pieces because we have a lot of people in here. Tell us how you found Erin and get the hell out of debt.
Yes. So I was talking to a friend about podcasts, and she was like, "Yeah, you should listen to this Get the Hell Out of Debt podcast. I've been listening to it. I've been really into like financial wellness and stuff." And so I thought, "Oh, okay, that's cool. I want to dabble in that." I was also looking to buy my first home. So I thought, well, I have credit card debt, but I also want to jump on the market now while I'm young, and then, so it doesn't blow up like it is now. And so I was thinking, but maybe I can do both. Maybe I can pay that off and buy an investment property and do all the things. And then I kind of dabbled in it. But in 2019, I decided to be sober for 2 years. So that was really a really awesome part of my lifestyle. And there's a reason why that's important, and I'll get into it later. But yeah, so I decided to be sober for a couple years. I started dating my now husband, and I also consolidated my debt. So I had $16,000 of credit card debt. And I consolidated it because I was talking to another friend who was like, "Yeah, if you consolidate it, it'll be better for you." And this was before I had really dived in to get the hell out of debt. So I know now that is a no-no. Don't ever consolidate your debt when your money muscles are not strong, because I ended up doubling it. So
Oh,
I
no.
yeah, it was not fun. I was very, very upset with myself. So because I couldn't afford this consolidation, now I'm putting things on credit cards again, doubling my debt. And then, things started getting serious with my now husband, and I wanted to be better for him. I wanted us to, like, because he's great with money, but I wanted to also be that for him too. And so I was kind of, again, just dabbling. It was a lot of dabbling for a few years, and then finally, like, got really, really serious about it. And I had made it a goal that I wanted to spend all of our wedding anniversaries in phase 3, and that and that almost happened, but I was just 2 months shy of it. So yeah, I hope
That's
that
a
answers the
great goal.
question.
That's a really good goal though. That's like a pee your pants goal, Erin, that she
Yeah.
was like, I'm going to set this really big goal for myself. So you dabbled, like you said, for a bit. So then all of a sudden you were like, okay, wait, I'm getting married and this is my new goal. And that was like your catalyst to start and go all in.
Yep, exactly.
She
Yes.
posted the engagement photo. I remember her posting the engagement photo in the social media group. And she stated this. She was like, okay, I'm engaged, like we're serious. And so everybody went nuts and just started cheering her on because it was like, it's kind of romantic when you think about it, right? Like you're really saying to your partner, like, wow, I can raise my standards for our life together. And anyway, it was super cool. And she's like, I missed it by 2 months. Missed it by 2 months. If you look at the trajectory of a calendar over your lifetime, it's like a pinpoint that you missed it by.
Yep.
Something massive to celebrate for sure, because you really worked really hard and life got in the way. Like COVID, you were in the middle of a pandemic when all of this was happening. So there was a lot of unknowns. And the fact that you still made it happen is really remarkable.
Tell us how much your net worth has grown since you started the program.
Yep. So my net worth has grown 681.27%.
Woohoo! I'm
And
not surprised.
I had to rerun that number because I was also very shocked that it could go up that much. But yes.
I'm not surprised. I really am not, because the way you've done the work and the way you've committed to up leveling, not just the financial area of your life, but like all areas, like the way you made promises to yourself that you kept around your physical health, the way you it's all related. And so you don't get a 681% rate of return if you're sliding through the program half-assed. You were fully committed, and I am not surprised. And I know that that's just going to continue to compound, and you're going to be a very wealthy woman.
Thank you.
Okay, so you decide that you're going to do this. And how much debt did you have at the time?
So I had about 28,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. And you
So
did the first thing first, like started at quick and dirty?
yep. So started my quick and dirty, started selling things, realized, as everybody does when you start phase one and start building your quick and dirty, that $300 Michael Kors purse is only going to get you $20 on Facebook Marketplace, and it is not worth it. As I got older, the looking rich didn't matter to me as much anymore. What even got me into debt was I moved out when I was younger, right when I was 18. I was ready to be independent. I didn't have any sense. I shouldn't have moved out and tried to pay for everything on my own, because I ended up putting rent and bills on credit cards. And granted, I didn't have the best. My brother lived at our house, and him and I don't have the best relationship, and so it was kind of a toxic environment, and it was just healthier for me to leave. But with that being said, I ended up paying for all my bills and credit cards instead of with income. And then also just having a hard time setting boundaries. I'm a recovering people pleaser, and I wanted to do everything and go to all the birthdays and go to all the trips and do all the things. And when I did finally try to set the boundaries, it wasn't always received well when we were younger. And so thankfully, I feel like my friend group has grown and we all respect our financial boundaries more now, but it definitely was that discomfort that had to be felt in the beginning.
Tell me more about this recovering people pleaser. So, what were some of the issues that you saw with your friend group when you decided that you were going to get out of debt and this lifestyle wasn't for you anymore?
It was a lot of tit for tat, oh, well, you're going, you said no, that you can't come to this dinner, but I see you're out right now and doing this
Oof.
thing. And it was like, well, I budgeted for that. I didn't budget for what you just invited me to. And so just trying to set those boundaries. And mind you, I mean, I was early mid-20s probably. So trying to talk about those things at that age, when the thing to do is go out and drink and party and have fun, it was really difficult. And so yeah, I had to go through a period of people didn't talk to me for a little bit. People were upset with me, and that was really hard because, like I said, I want to be there for everybody and I want to do all the things and I want to show up. But I started to realize I don't have to show up financially in every situation. If I if I'm there for a friend and we go for a walk, or if I call a friend and give them 30 minutes of my time, like that's good enough. And if that's not good enough, then it's time to reevaluate things, right?
Yes, that's so hard though. I'm so proud of you for doing that because gosh, that's hard. And I mean, those friends, I'm so mad at them for you. I'm mad at them on your behalf because
We're
they didn't need to do that to you. You are growing and they're not. And I think they were just jealous of you, Cheyenne.
perhaps we're all
Okay.
good now, but
So did you make it through any of those friendships? Like, do you still have some of that friend group or have you moved on now and found people that align more with what you're doing now?
yeah, I would say majority of my friends, we were able to recover from that period of time. There are some friends that that I kind of lost along the way, but for the most part, I would say um, definitely stronger because of it. And it's awesome to watch them grow now. Just because I've in a sense I've created a sort of testimony. And so they're like, wow, if Cheyenne can do it, like I can do it too. Like I thought she was full of when she was talking about all this, but I guess she was onto something, right?
That gave me goosebumps just now. That because
Yeah.
those are the people that you want in your world. And I was just gonna say, if you have any of those mean girls left, just tell Erin and I their addresses because we'll go after them.
I was
And
gonna
you've
warn you.
got us now. We're your new besties.
Carrie's about to get a
Yes.
matching tattoo with you any minute, so brace yourself.
I love
Okay,
that.
so you fill your quick and dirty, and then which debt did you decide to tackle first?
Well, the spicy method was definitely my plan of attack. And it yeah, the consolidation made me the most angry. I was very, very mad about that one. And so that I would consider that one my first spicy debt. And then I also had to borrow money from my dad at some point, and I that was really hard for me. I actually realized through some of, with the Naked Money Meetings book and the blocks that you discover, I realized I had a like a worthiness slash guilt block. And I don't like asking for help. I don't feel worthy. I used to not feel worthy of it. I used to feel like I didn't deserve it. And so having to ask my dad for help was really, really huge. And it was very, very important to me that I paid him back. Because it wasn't just like $100. It was thousands. And so I made sure I kind of flipped my strategy for a little bit, and I started paying him off first. And then once I paid him off, I moved to the consolidation.
Do you want more? I know you do. Why wouldn't you want more? More
Or
of this?
what? What do I want more of?
More of this. Come
Oh.
hang out in the online course, Forget the Hell Out of Debt. The link is in the description. You just got to click it, sign up, and we'll see you in there.
That was nice that your dad was able to help you out. Is he like he's a supportive dad? Did he expect you to pay him back?
He's very supportive. I don't think he expected it. He's actually like he gives money to a lot of our family members that aren't well to do, and they never pay him back. And so because I've seen him do that over the years, and granted, I don't typically ever ask for help. Like I don't like to. I don't ask for it. He is very supportive, but I think also sometimes um he can be a little bit like, oh, well, I took care of that for you kind of parent. So I wanted to make sure he didn't have anything to rub my nose into, if that makes sense. But
Yes.
um but yeah, but also just like seeing my parents get taken advantage of over the years, I wanted to make sure he didn't get taken advantage of by me.
Mm-hmm. You're a good daughter. You sound like a great daughter.
Thank you. I try.
Okay. So it took you how long then to pay off your debt?
So once I really got started, I would say about 2 years.
And you remember when you made that final payment when everything balanced to zero?
Oh yeah. Yep. I was super excited because while I didn't hit phase 3 in my married anniversary, July is technically me and my husband's like dating anniversary. And so I was very excited. It was so awesome being able to tell him that I made that accomplishment, because I remember November 2022, I had my catalytic converter on my car died,
Mhm.
and it was like a $2,000 repair.
Ouch.
And yes, and I was already kind of in that like trying to refill my quick and dirty and stressing out about that. And so I was like, whatever, I'll just put it on the credit card, and my money muscles were weak. And so I I put it on the credit card and I come home and my husband asked me, so how much was it? How'd it go? Blah, blah, blah. And I told him, he goes, well, how did you pay for it? And I go, I put it on the credit card. And he goes, well, why did you do that? And I said, because I don't have enough in my quick and dirty to cover that. And he said, okay, we need to have a talk. Like he was like very serious. He said, when you have emergencies, you come to me because we still have our finances separate. And so, and he basically, in a sense, gave me that permission. Again, I don't like to ask for help. I just don't like to. And so realizing, because we're, a few months into our marriage, maybe I think like 6 months at this point, and realizing like, okay, I have a partner. Like, I don't have to do this on my own. He's giving me permission to support me and help me. And he essentially turned into my quick and dirty. So he was like, when you have emergencies, you come to me. I want you to focus on your credit cards. Like, the faster you pay those off, the faster we can get to a place where we want to be and continue to like build towards our
This is so
future.
hot. I just have to tell you, this is
I
the
was
Yeah.
gonna
second
say,
conversation.
I knew already. Erin was like,
This
she's
is
gonna
like
jump in here and talk about your husband.
quick
She's
and
like,
dirty. I'd be quick and dirty in the sheets is where I would be after this conversation. Good man.
I know. But just getting that permission and it just kind of, it was really quick after that. So
I'm so happy for you that you have a partner that's like that. That's incredible because that's not always the case and is often not the case. So I'm so happy that that's your situation and you've got a good, great partner by the sounds of it.
yeah, I know. I feel lucky
And so
every
do you,
day.
now that he said that to you, do you feel like it's changed since that conversation? Like, are you able to have open conversations?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I would say that for the most part, we've always had open conversations about money. So we had only been dating for maybe 7 or 8 months, and we went to Jamaica for my friend's wedding. It was actually the week right before the pandemic started. So we like just got out by like the nick of time.
Wow.
And so we're in Jamaica and we're coming home. It was our first international trip together. And um he had spent all his cash on like souvenirs and stuff, and we were hungry. And so I said, oh well, let me just go get cash out really quick because I'm military brat, and so we get free like ATM, free international, all that. And so I went to get cash out and to pay for our meal. And so when I sit down, he asked me, he goes, well, how did you get cash out? So I'm explaining it to him. He goes, did you use your debit or your credit card? And I said, I use my debit card. And I go, you can take cash out with your credit card? Thank God I didn't know that. Um, and and so he goes, yeah. And then that's when he kind of started the conversation. He goes, well, do you have credit cards? And I said, yes, I do. And he goes, well, do you have credit card debt? And I said, yes. And he goes, well, is it less than or greater than this much? And I told him it was less than 20,000. And he goes, okay, I can work with that. So,
That's like
so
me on
yeah.
a date. I'm like, oh, you're picking me up in this car? Is it financed or you own it outright?
Yeah, yep, yeah. So we've always been very open about like those type of conversations. And even while we were starting to move in together, it was, well, how do we feel about bank accounts? And I was like, well, I mean, honestly, I watch my parents are divorced, so I watch them fight about money all the time. And for me, like, if you can control that part of your relationship, why would like, I just, for us, it just doesn't work and it doesn't make sense. And I'm okay with it and he's okay with it, and we figured out a way to balance things. And that's, yeah. So
How do you take care of shared expenses? Because that's a question a lot of people have, right? People just assume as soon as you get married, you have to combine finances. And as you know, we teach there's a number of different ways you can handle finances in a partnership. And you guys have decided to keep your finances separate. I remember we talked about this, I think, in the social media group one time, because I was like, hey, it's totally okay. We don't need to compare ourselves to anyone else. What you're doing is working. And so you're going to keep doing that until it doesn't work, until you need to come up with a new system. So how do you manage shared expenses and individual expenses?
I still have the property that I had bought in 2018. I still have that. It's now a rental property. And so what we did
Girl,
was
just a sec. Take a moment for the applause. Round of applause. Round of applause for Cheyenne turning that into an asset. Thank you very much.
thank you, thank you. Yes. So what we did was we figured out like, okay, how much was I paying towards like living expenses when I was by myself? And he looked at what he was paying for living expenses by himself, and we compared, and we're like, okay, well, what would make sense to where we would both net out and like save the same amount of money.
Mm.
And so he's a numbers guy. He is good at that stuff. Um and so we landed on a number. And so I know it's like probably so cringy, but I Zelle him every month. Like I Zelle him towards our bills here.
Cringe at all. Zero cringe. Zero. It's actually kind of hot. Like zero
Okay.
cringe. Because it
Thank
shows that
you.
you're on top of your money and you're working together and you're communicating about it. And like Zelle is the easiest way to get my, like, you know what I mean? Like if you're in a joint bank account situation, you share the money, and Zelle is one way you can share the money. And so, yeah, it's not cringe at all. Zero cringe.
Thank you. Yeah. So I Zelle him every month. And then I typically take care of the groceries. Like I take care of maybe 80% of the groceries. And of course, if he's ever like coming home from somewhere or whatever, and he'll always text me, "Hey, I'm going to go to the store. Do we need anything?"
Oh,
And
this guy. I feel
we
like
don't.
this needs an explicit rating because this is total ear for all the women listening. There's women who are listening to this podcast who've had to pull over on the side of the road and do unspeakable things just so they can concentrate. I'm telling you, this man. Okay, keep going.
Oh, I know. So I would say I take care of groceries pretty much all of the time, or 80% of the time. And then he takes care of our traveling. So we'll sit down and we'll talk about our budget for the year, and what trips we have coming up, and how much we want to spend on them. And he I even we just planned a trip to Switzerland, and I was like, well, how much can I give you? And he's like, I didn't ask you for anything. So that's how we're doing things right now.
So amazing.
um
If we didn't have to pay for licensing for music, right now Marvin Gaye would be playing in the background. But and in all seriousness, it's cool because all of this is starting with communication. And so you've really taken something that really could have been painful, and it might not always look this way. Like maybe eventually it will make more sense for you to have like, who knows, right? But the way he's honoring the fact that you came from a family where this was so triggering, and how you're
mhm.
working to heal those things. So you're like, hey, I'm not ready to share finances because of like, I love you too much to bring an old pattern into this new relationship. And the way you're really respecting each other and talking about money, and the way he's talking about Switzerland, and you're like, how can I contribute? Like you're asking those questions up front instead of making assumptions. All of that is impeccable financial management. Just brilliant.
Thank
And it
you.
works for you. It's obviously working for you, which is great.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and I would say, so just going back to when I had said that I decided to be sober for 2 years, I mean, that was right before my husband and I started dating. And so I was very nervous about that because I'm still single. I decided I don't want to drink for a while. Um, and I'm like, well, who's gonna date me? Who's gonna want to date me right now? And he's a triathlete actually, so he doesn't drink very often anyways. And I would say that was like such a cool part of dating him, because we were able to communicate pretty well off the bat, and we didn't have like an alcoholic crutch or liquid courage to kind of be that buffer to help us. We just kind of had to figure it out and like really get to know each other on our own. And I feel like that built like such a strong foundation for us. And so that way, when I did finally introduce alcohol back into my life, I like to have words of the year,
Mhm.
like intention words of the year. And so um, my intention word of the year in 2021 was freedom and discipline. And freedom, it kind of tied into both paying off debt and introducing alcohol back into my life. It was, I'm going to have the freedom to drink again, but I want to have the discipline to make sure it doesn't like get out of control. And then same thing with, I want financial freedom, but I want to learn the discipline to um the discipline with my money.
It's really great. I think that's exactly it. Anytime we have a relationship with something that's unhealthy, doing exactly what you did shows that you're really willing to go, wait a second, I'm not going to live this way anymore. Because we always have to remember, like, what got us here to where we are in our lives today is going to be the thing that keeps us here. If we want to go somewhere else, we have to live differently. We have to make new changes, because what got us here is not going to get us there, as they say. So when you're realizing, like, gosh, I'm in an unhealthy pattern here with both my relationship with alcohol, my relationship with finances, or whatever, I've got to make some changes. And so even when you're just going, we talk about it in the Get the Hell Out of Debt program. When you arrive to the Get the Hell Out of Debt program, if we were a detox center, right? And you had to like show up on a bus. Imagine, Carrie, we have like 100 acres somewhere, and people just get dropped off and they have to put their credit cards in a Ziploc baggie. We give them a pat down. We're pulling credit cards out of cracks and different things, like, you know what I mean? And sending them over to the campfire to have a little, and it takes them a few days. They go through a withdrawal process and, but if we were doing something like that, right? There is a transition period where it's so uncomfortable because the old pattern is going to be so easy. The old way, grabbing a drink to feel comfortable, grabbing the credit card just to make an immediate need happen, right? We talk about that in the program. It's like when you start the Get the Hell Out of Debt program, you go on a credit card detox, just like you would detox from sugar if you had an unhealthy relationship with sugar. Or as my friend Mark Groves has often told women that he knows, you need a detox right now because you've been in an unhealthy pattern of one night stands. And so we got to go on detox for a period of time so that you can really get back in tune with yourself. And oftentimes we're doing those things because we're avoiding something, we're numbing out. And so the fact that you looked at all of that and you were like, that's so healthy. And it can show you too, even going forward, like if you get to a place in your life and you have an unhealthy relationship with a friend or, a workplace or whatever, doing that same practice around like, wait a second, if I remove this and I allow myself to get uncomfortable for a while, what am I truly going to learn about who I am? And I'm going to heal that. And then I'm going to reintroduce it from a place of wholeness instead of from a place of lack. And that's where it can be really healthy. Because what happens to a lot of people is they say, I'm not going to use credit cards for a while. And then those mother points people say, oh, I use credit cards. I put everything on my credit cards and I pay it off every month and I get the points. Well, that's nice for you, Nancy, but you obviously don't have a problem. And some of us have a problem. And so we have to really figure that out. There's not a one size fits all. And really understanding our own relationship with money and healing our own personal relationship with money is the secret. And you've done that so beautifully in so many areas of your life. So beautifully. Okay, so you get the hell out of debt, which was really great. You hit phase 3, and I know you have some serious goals in phase 3. Why don't you tell us what some of those are?
Yeah, so my phase 3 goals are I'm trying to save up like 25% of my salary right now by December. I really want like a really nice cushion of just savings because I've never had that before.
Amazing.
Obviously staying out of credit card debt is going to be a forever goal. I was listening to y'all's podcast yesterday or today, or I don't know. I just remember Carrie saying she likes to be an expert at everything before she starts. I want to be an expert at it before I start, but I know that I just need to jump into it and figure it out as I go. I normally just jump in. Like my husband says, oh, he's like, you're always just making decisions so quickly. Like you don't just stop to think. And we talk about that, the whole procrastination is paralysis of perfectionism or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's a little bit more of a got a noodle on it, and I'm more of a yeah, let's do that. The whole getting that started is so daunting to me, and I know it shouldn't be, but
Because it's wrapped up in money, is that why?
I think it's just because I'm like, I don't know. It's because okay, I have a 401k with my company. I have my investment property. I screwed up royally on a Roth IRA. I opened a Roth IRA back when I was 21 and found out last year when I was doing my taxes that I never vested the money. And
It was
I
just
know
sweet savings.
it's just, it was just like a fancy savings.
Oh, just a second. I have
I
diarrhea. Oh,
I know. I was so mad.
but
But
look,
those are
you,
things that they don't tell us unless like they don't tell us and it's on us to do that. And if we don't know that, we don't do it.
and girl, you
Yep.
are so young, you figured it out. So some people don't realize that till they're 65. So you're okay. You're okay.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. So here's what I would tell you with your exchange traded funds. So if you are going to invest in an ETF, listener, hear me. She's saving 25% of her income. We're not going to use that to invest in an ETF. What I want you to do to start investing in an ETF is I want you to look at your budget this week and go, what was I going to blow? What was going to be the money I was going to spend on Uber Eats or I was going to waste? Or what's one thing I can sell in my house? Like just a little bit of money, right? 150 bucks, 200 bucks. Grab that and buy your exchange traded fund. Now, once you've done it, this is where the rubber meets the road because sometimes people don't really start paying attention until they have something at stake. And so even it's a little bit, right? We don't want to use your big savings until we know what we're doing, but we learn by doing. We don't learn by watching when it comes to money. So it's okay. This is all good. So your job this week is to tell us by the end of this week in our social media community, like I did it. You can go live in there, you can dance, you can do an interpretive rap or song if you want, but you're going to tell us that you bought an exchange traded fund, even just like a fractional ownership of a fund that you think you might like. The next thing that you need to do, obviously, is just start. And when we use our blow money, which is money that would have disappeared anyway, it doesn't feel so bad if we buy that ETF and then it dips a little bit. We're not going to feel like, oh, I'm losing money, I'm making a mistake or whatever, because we're like, oh, it could have been zero because I could have gotten tacos instead. And so now, you know what I mean? We're going to that's going to start you on your journey. And then you're going to continue to grow your 25% of your salary that you're putting aside and have that as your savings. And eventually, as your assets grow and your phase 3, like you're going to be paying off that rental property mortgage. So your assets are just going to grow on that side. The cash flow from that's going to continue to grow. What we're going to do is as we grow those investments slowly, then we're going to need less savings down the road because you're going to feel like, okay, I have so much abundance. I've got a high net worth. So then you won't need quite so much in the savings account, but I totally understand why right now you want it. And so that's why I think it's an important goal. And I'm excited that you're doing that.
She
Thank you.
obviously, just so you know, believes in you fully here because she doesn't give many people the homework where it's like, okay, you're doing it and you're posting about it, just so you know.
Next week. Yes,
Yep.
ma'am.
The end of this week. The end of this week.
Oh, the end of this week. Okay.
And you have money in your budget that you would have spent elsewhere? Like, are you thinking already of what money's going to go to it?
Yeah, I'm looking at my budget now. I'm actually supposed to be getting a bonus from my job this month. So I'll probably use some of that. But I also sell egg rolls, so maybe I'll use some of my egg roll money.
What? This is new information.
Like you make egg rolls?
Yes.
Wow, I love food, Cheyenne. Anybody that does things with food, I'm just so on board. What do you mean egg rolls? Like the ones that we put like in our air fryers?
Yeah, so you can put it in your air fryer, you can pan fry them. But my friends love them. I've been bringing them to parties and get-togethers for years, and I stopped selling them for a couple years, and I had somebody ask me like, when are you going to start selling these again? And I said, fine, I'll do it.
It's amazing.
The people are asking, so I'm trying to deliver.
Yes, I love this. I love the creativity in this.
Please
Thanks.
figure out how to ship internationally and I'll be your first customer. I want an egg roll so bad right now.
Oh, everybody says that. I'm like, maybe Good Belly. Maybe one day I'll be in partnership with like Good Belly or something.
Yes, I love that. I love that big thinking. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's a
Thanks.
great way to supplement and make some more money. So good for you for thinking outside of the box. And it's obviously something you love to do too.
Yeah, no, I love cooking. It's very therapeutic for me. When Erin was saying take whatever you're going to spend on Uber Eats and put it into the ETF, I was thinking, well, I never do Uber Eats because I love cooking so much. So I'm going to have to find something else in my budget. But yeah, it's super therapeutic for me. I just turn on a TV show, sit there and roll for an hour or whatever. I used to want to do a food truck. Then I thought more about it and I'm like, I would have to literally be working every single weekend to make money. And I want to do something where I don't have to be there 24/7 to make money. And so I've been kind of noodling on like a ghost kitchen and I don't have to be there. I can just be making money while people are using the space kind of thing. But that's like a, I don't know, 5 to 8 year plan probably.
Erin,
No, it's about 9 months away.
look at our baby Cheyenne and how far she's come. Look at her. She's grown so much, Cheyenne. You were thinking so small, and now it's like, how can we do this and make it passive income? And I just like, atta girl is all I have to say. Atta girl.
Yeah. And then the whole point of that was people can come pick up their egg rolls from that place instead of my house.
Totally. Okay, seriously, feel like we could talk to you forever and ever about your husband and about egg rolls and about all the things Cheyenne. But just to wrap things up, will you share with us what meeting Erin and finding Get the Hell Out of Debt has meant to you?
I feel like everybody probably says this, and I'm sure you hear this all the time, but just truly life-changing. It wasn't even, it started off obviously with like wanting financial freedom and paying off debt, but it became so much more of like learning myself and just becoming more in tune with who I am and feeling better in my own skin and being more confident in not only just like financial areas of my life, but all the areas of my life. And so I just can't thank you enough. And the world is truly, truly blessed to have somebody like you just sharing all of your knowledge and nuggets with the world.
Oh, that's so nice.
Thank you.
I'm so honored.
What about somebody that's sitting on the fence right now and hasn't signed up for the program? What would you tell them?
Just, it's like honestly the best program out there ever in the whole world. Also, you guys are hilarious. Y'all crack me up all the time. It feels like listening to your best friends talk. And I love how real and raw you guys are. And so just don't ever lose that, because it's great. Even when you get spicy because you haven't eaten on your podcast yet.
Which happens more than we like to admit. Well, Cheyenne, you're one of our besties now. You're one of the besties now too, and we love you so much and can't wait to see what you do. So when you join the Millionaire Club, come back and talk to us again on the podcast, okay?
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
I'm going to log into my epilogue right now because I know exactly now who's going to take over the Get the Hell Out of Debt program when I die.
I was like, what are you talking about? But didn't know where you were going with that.
You could teach the program. She's phenomenal. I'm just so proud of her. And also, I figured out what your matching best friends tattoo can be.
An egg roll?
You're going to get a magic mushroom holding a whisk.
Maybe not. I mean, maybe if it's very stylistic, maybe. One of the great ideas that you came up with in here, and I jotted a note down because I think we really need to look into this. I feel like we need like a Get the Hell Out of Debt detox farm. Like we need a place, we need like a ranch. We need some place for people to go where they literally check in at the gates, and we have like some security guard that does like a full body pat down to get the credit cards, and then we come on in.
We have snipers up in the towers shooting the Amazon trucks away.
And it seems scary from the outside, but once you're in, it is a very loving place where we feed you egg rolls. And Cheyenne's there, and she does like these beautiful presentations and talks about, shares all her wisdom with us. Yeah. I feel like this could be the next phase of Get the Hell Out of Debt.
Could be. I just don't want any horses. No horses, please.
Oh, but how about goat yoga?
Do we have somebody on the ranch who handles the poop?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. That's not us. Oh, come on. That's not us. That goes on the first line of the budget.